As each moment, as each day emerges, I tend to wonder and question, how is it possible that I can enjoy so much of this life and I have my own petty and small disappointments with what I don't have? But when I do have that thought, it doesn't persist, but almost every day, I don't know, many days, I'll put it that way, I do question how I'm still here after things that have happened to me, have happened for me, have put me at the precipice a few times on that narrow line between life and ultimate death. And then I reflect also on what I do have, and seems like a whole lot of positive and luxuries that also I see in my fellow human being that appear, I can't compare, but from my humble perspective, they appear not to have as much as I do. Now, of course, it's all relative. I can't understand or know their background or what they've been through or where they are in their station. But being the simple and silly human being, that comparative analysis comes up many times in my small mind before I reset to my heart, which is where we all are common. Sorry for the long preamble, but I just had to say that to myself. Hopefully, I don't know if you feel a similar way, that you do take time to reflect and express gratitude for what you do have and not what you don't have, or in comparison to what someone may have much more than you do. But I've done that many times that I care to tell you about today. But I had to make that observation and share that with you in this statement to open up this episode. So, God, you? Yes, you are a God. You're in the process. You're in the fulfillment of a process. Now, for you, you may think this when you hear that coming from me today. Say, man, I ain't no God. And you might say also, and you, Ming, ain't no God either, with your fat and short self with a couple of rinky-dink degrees and 3 divorces, driving a nearly 10-year-old car, and beat-up shoes on my feet. You might say, that ain't no God. Fact. But let's discuss that a bit more today. Let's review the essence of you and I, as individuals and as a collective, presuming that you accept this proposition that you and I were created by one God in His image and likeness. Then how do we make that jump or devolution into anything but that God image and likeness at our source and at the core of life, gifted, graced to us? Well, I can address that diversion and deviation from the insisted, installed intention of us, of you and I. We chose to ignore or not explore that, to not recover, discover, or uncover that wisdom that we have in us even before birth. We didn't lose it. It was covered and buried within us by and through those who went through a similar process of reducing us to servants, to slaves, to drones, to cattle, to chattel, to be used and discarded at will, like those jobs most of us have taken on, have suffered, or succeeded through by luck. Even if you got some of the good book and college teaching and education, You got a GGJ, a good government job, and had the ability to buy some stuff that made us feel good. But that did not really contribute to the godness recovery mission that I abort too frequently. We all have this ability and grace within us. But most of us, and oftentimes myself, we're afraid to look inside, to look deep inside. I mean, through those types of organic questions essential to the process of being the God you already are. The organic God that you already are. Organic meaning the original, genuine, sincere, curious questions that can guide you into your godness. And starting with definitions you can remember forward and apply in that same direction. Forward. Even starting with a definition of God, simply defined by me, take it for what it's worth, in my book, Resilience, the Beauty of Presence. So in that book, I chose a definition of God meaning one who possesses power and force. Not too complicated, is it? God meaning one with power and force. I went further to define that as the power to define and the force to guide. What? Of the universe and galaxies and everything? Nah, that job is taken. I'm talking about you, the little g, the local God, with power and force within you and in your little universe or circle, or closet, or underpass of the highway, or in your fabulous home, or in your car, or in a bowl of spaghetti, or just simply with yourself, and with the installer of your original design. How about we start there, my fellow little gods? Yes, hear me clearly. You are a God. Yes, I am a God. You and I, individually and collectively, are in the process to do this in every moment and every day that we receive from the big G. We're not competing for that. We're not in comparison to that. We come from that. And here we are having this conversation, God to God, but also little God to the big God that is within you, within me. And that's how you and I are able to communicate in resilience, on resilience, and going forward to grow into who we are by our nature and from our Creator. Pay attention. Stay current. Stay present. No matter where you are in this world, please do remember, it is always 820.